How much time does your legal team actually spend combing through a thick master services agreement? Recent research says the average review takes 92 minutes, and that's before anyone even starts redlining. And here's the real catch: miss just one risky clause, and fixing it later can cost you way more than the time you thought you saved. Today, I want to show you a faster and safer way to get this done. Manual reviews typically delay project launches by 6.5 days, and honestly, I've seen projects stall for much, much longer. That can add up to 7 million in lost revenue every year. And don't forget the lawyers. Outside counsel can cost $125 to $500 an hour. Just 2 hours on a single MSA can easily push your legal bill over $1,000. And here's another hit: contract mistakes and missed obligations can drain up to 9% of your revenue, whether that's through penalties, missed KPIs, or even lawsuits. So, what can we do about it? Well, this is where AI powered automation comes in. With the right AI, you can speed up reviews, boost accuracy, and be way more consistent. And the AI can scan giant legal documents in seconds and catch risky clauses you or your team might miss after hours of reading. But here's the thing: not all AI is set up for this job. Most generic AI models are really just designed for everyday questions. They aren't built to tackle the deep, complex analysis you need for contract reviews. That's exactly why we went with the O1 deep reasoning model. Unlike general purpose AI, O1 is trained and fine-tuned specifically for legal, finance, and compliance work. It breaks down multi-step logic just like a seasoned legal associate, except it doesn't get tired, distracted, or miss details. Before I jump into the demo, I want to give you a quick overview of how this works, step by step. First up, our digital intake agent watches your legal inbox. When a new master services agreement shows up, it grabs the PDF and drops it right into the intake folder. Next, our risk analyst agent takes over. It uses OCR, optical character recognition, to extract all the contract details from the document. Once that's done, the contract text is fed into the O1 model, which breaks the contract into chunks, analyzes each section for risk, and puts everything into a clear, color-coded report. Finally, the report gets emailed to you and also archived in the intake folder so your legal team can find it anytime. And don't worry, humans are always in the loop. Attorneys review every high risk or elevated flag before anything goes out the door. Let me show you how this looks in real life. Okay, so let's assume that I'm a member of my firm's legal team and I've been working with Lucy, a vendor of mine, on a deal. After a few rounds of discussions and negotiations, we have come to a stage where we need to sign the contract. She sends me the master services agreement as an email. The MSA that we've used for this use case is an MSA between Magna and Serve. So this is the publicly available document. So it's a pretty long document, close to 16 pages, and it has several sections. So let's have her send me an email. So once the email is sent, we'll give it a few seconds for me to receive the email. So I have received the contract as an email, and the digital intake agent will spring into action. So let's give it a second for the agent to detect that incoming email and start processing the contract details. As you can see, this agent was able to immediately spring in action and was able to check for attachments. And once it found the attachment, it was then able to archive the attachment to an intake folder. And so the contract is now available in the intake folder. And the next step is for the risk analyst agent to detect the contract in the intake folder and start doing its part. So the risk analyst agent has sprung into action. It was able to detect the contract. It then had to pass the details to an OCR action. OCR stands for optical character recognition. This is a technique that we use to extract content from PDFs and images. So once the OCR step is successfully completed, the details are then passed on to our deep reasoning model. O1 deep reasoning model is very meticulous and thorough. So it does a step-by-step analysis of the contract details, section by section, clearly reviewing the details. The O1 reasoning action took about 1 minute and 8 seconds. So once it was able to analyze the details, it then sent me an email. It actually generated a report, and the report was also archived in our intake folder. So you can see the detailed analysis report, and let's quickly have a look at it here. So the model was able to provide me an overall risk summary, clearly in a very concise manner, pointing out the important risks that I need to be aware of and I need to action. And then it also provided me step by step of all the clause level findings. So it was able to actually point the exact section in the document the risk occurred, what category does it belongs to, what is the risk score, the excerpt from the document, the reasoning and impact, and also a mitigation strategy to address it. So in this case, it was able to identify close to eight risks for me to then work with Lucy to have it resolved. And let's quickly also look at the email. Okay. So the same report was also presented to me as an email. So it's just a lot more convenience in terms of how I want to access this information. Since the information is already also available in our SharePoint, it's archived and I can access it anytime when I want to. So that was pretty much the end-to-end demo. Before I end the demo, I also want to quickly talk through the prompt that was used to instruct the model. Prompts are instructions in plain English. This is also fed to the model along with the content or the data that the model needs to process. So in this case, since we want the model to identify risks in a legal document like a contract, the prompt that we have fed to the model is to instruct it to think that it is a senior contracts analyst with extensive commercial MSA experience, and that it needs to follow these steps. The first step would be identify every clause that possesses material risk in these categories. For each risk, add a category column, assign a risk score on a 5-point scale, explain with clear reasoning why it gave the risk that it assigned to a certain clause, recommend a concise mitigation strategy, provide an overall risk summary at the very top, output the information in a color-coded report, and the instruction is in HTML to form that report. My objective here is to keep the demos simple and straightforward so it's easy to comprehend and understand the message I'm trying to convey. But in real world, these instructions can be a lot more detailed depending on your unique circumstance and how complex your unique challenges are. Let's talk real savings. A manual contract review averages 92 minutes. That's about $383 in legal fees per contract. With AI in the mix, attorney time drops to about 46 minutes, plus about $5 for the O1 call. That's $186 saved in every single contract. And honestly, those numbers are conservative. 50% time savings and catching 80% of risky clauses is just the baseline. With proper setup and careful model tuning, you can virtually eliminate the risk of missing high impact clauses, making things even safer and more cost effective. Multiply that by 100 contracts a year and you are reclaiming over $18,000 in fees, not even counting what you will save from avoiding penalties or litigation. But the benefits don't stop there. Every contract gets reviewed against the same standard. There's no more inconsistency. There is a rock-solid audit trail. SharePoint keeps the original PDFs, the risk analysis, and every lawyer's sign-off. And as you scale up, you can handle more and more contracts without hiring extra staff. That's real hard dollar savings that you can go back to your finance team with. Now, I kept today's demo intentionally simple to show you how powerful this kind of AI automation can be. But in the real world, you can go way further. Think handling multi-document deal packages, tracking amendments across versions, integrating with your contract management system, managing access, or automating end-to-end reviews across different departments. We can even add audit and compliance checks, set up multi-level approvals, or cross-check with external risk databases. And we're just getting started. I mean, in our next episode, we'll look at how the same kind of deep reasoning AI can be used for fraud detection, spotting patterns and anomalies to protect your organization. So don't miss out. Subscribe, ring the bell for updates, and let me know in the comments, which contract clauses or fraud risks keep you up at night. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.